The movie begins with an 11-year-old boy named Alexander Cooper arriving home with his family in a severely damaged minivan. His family includes his parents, Kelly and Ben, his older siblings, Anthony and Emily, and his baby brother, Trevor. Alexander explains that his family had the most horrible day today. However, they have no idea that he is the reason for the whole mess. After this, they open the door of the house and see a crocodile inside, making them scream and slam the door. The scene then shifts to the day before, when Alexander wakes up and gets an online invitation to a birthday party for the next evening. It's sent by his rich and famous classmate, Philip. This upsets him, since his birthday is also tomorrow and he's planning a celebration. So he walks downstairs and tells his family that no one will show up at his party because Philip is more popular than him. However, no one in his family appears to care, as they're all busy with their own thing. Anthony is determined to get his driver's license to take his girlfriend Celia to the prom. Emily is busy rehearsing for the lead role in her school play, while Kelly is about to publish a new children's book. Meanwhile, Ben, who has been unemployed for 7 months, is busy taking care of the household. Later, Kelly informs Alexander that she can't drop him off at school today, which makes him sad. However, his disappointment quickly turns to joy when he realizes that he'll be going to school with his crush, Becky. He happily gets into Becky's car and tries to talk with her, but suddenly, Becky's brother takes a picture of him and uses an app to place his face on the bodies of women wearing bikinis. At school, Alexander meets his best friend Paul and informs him about Becky's brother's actions. But Paul says that he might be joking and would never put such photos on the internet. But suddenly, other students begin to laugh at Alexander, and he discovers that his pictures have been shared on social media. Just then, Philip also appears and makes fun of him. Later, Alexander informs Paul that Philip is holding a birthday celebration even though it's not his actual birthday. He's concerned that only Paul and his family will attend his party. However, Paul apologizes and says that he will also attend Philip's party. This upsets Alexander that even his best friend is abandoning him. In the classroom, the teacher assigns each student a project on a specific country. Alexander says he wants to choose Australia as he loves the country and knows a lot about it. However, the teacher believes that there should be fairness, so he spins a globe. It soon lands in Djibouti, which is assigned to Alexander. He then spins the globe again, and this time it lands in Australia, which is given to Philip. Later in science class, Alexander approaches Becky and asks if he can partner up with her. She agrees, and they begin to work together. He then uses the opportunity to invite her to his birthday party, but she refuses, saying that she's going to Philip's birthday party as well. While they're talking, Alexander gets distracted and accidentally sets Becky's notebook on fire. He tries to put it out, but causes further fire in the laboratory. The teacher quickly arrives with a fire extinguisher and puts out the fire. However, after this, Alexander is kicked out of class due to his actions. After a series of misfortunes, Alexander returns home and finds Trevor's bumblebee pacifier lying on the floor. His father tells him to wash it, but in the process, Alexander accidentally drops it into the sink and breaks it. After that, Trevor begins to cry continuously, as the bumblebee pacifier is the only thing that can calm him. Later, the family gathers for dinner and discusses some good news. Ben reveals that he's got a job interview for a game designer role at a video game company. Emily is going to play Peter Pan in her school's play. And Anthony is looking forward to driving Celia to prom and passing his driver's test. Kelly also announces the release of her new children's book, which she hopes will promote her to vice president. Everyone is happy, and turns out that Trevor spoke his first word today, so they begin cheering him. Alexander then gets upset and claims that his day has been a disaster. But while he's talking, suddenly Trevor starts crying. So his parents begin to console Trevor while Emily goes to her mother's car to practice for her play. Following this, Alexander returns to his room and discovers that Anthony is still awake. He then tries to speak with him, but his brother is busy talking with his girlfriend. So Anthony gets annoyed and curses Alexander for bothering him. However, Celia believes he's yelling at her and suddenly hangs up the phone. Soon, midnight arrives, and Alexander makes himself a birthday dessert. However, he's disappointed that no one in his family is concerned about him. He feels awful that they enjoy their perfect lives while he has to deal with bad luck every day. So he blows out the candle and wishes that everyone in his family would experience what it's like to have a bad day. The following morning, Alexander awakens to find his family in chaos. Ben and Kelly, who have critical meetings for the day, have overslept. So he wakes them up and they begin to panic and get ready for work. Meanwhile, Emily, having spent the night in the cold car, is sick and in no condition to perform at the play. Suddenly, they all hear Anthony screaming from the bathroom, and it turns out that he has a pimple, which annoys him since it's his prom day. Furthermore, his girlfriend Celia has broken up with him due to their last night's conversation. Afterward, Kelly goes to her car and finds out that its battery is dead because Emily left the car lights on all night. Having no other choice, the entire family gets into Ben's minivan. After dropping off each kid, Kelly heads to her workplace. There, she is shocked to learn that there was a typo in her book that changed the word jump with dump on not only the cover, but every page within. Her boss informs her that the company was able to get copies of the book before it was released to the public. However, a famous person, Dick Van Dyke, is going to read the book at the exhibition. To avoid a scandal, Kelly hurries to stop this from happening. Soon after, she arrives at the event to stop Dick Van, but is interrupted by some journalists. He then begins reading the book with error, making it appear like the book is entirely about taking a dump. This frightens the children, and their parents are shocked. Meanwhile, at school, Anthony apologizes to Celia and asks her to still go to prom with him. He says that he yelled at his brother last night, and after several pleas, she eventually forgives him. She then returns to her class, and Anthony is so excited that he jumps into the air and smacks a banner, unaware that it's tied to 2 trophy cases, which collapse and smash. On the other hand, Ben takes Trevor and arrives for the job interview. The recruiters are surprised that he's a bit older, but they like him and are impressed with his past experience and skills. After that, they begin discussing new video game ideas, but while Ben is talking, Trevor pulls out a green marker and begins eating it. As a result, the interviewers ask him to leave for now and say that they will call him later. Meanwhile, Alexander is having a good day at school. He learns from Paul that Philip has gotten smallpox, and so his party is now cancelled. This means everyone will now arrive at Alexander's party, which makes him quite happy. He also learns that Becky's brother is being punished at school for sharing his pictures on the internet. After that, he invites Becky to his birthday party, and she agrees. Later, Ben arrives at school to pick up the kids, and he discovers that Anthony has been suspended. Emily informs him that she's convinced her director that she can take some medicine and take part in the play. So they go to the nearest drugstore, where, despite Ben's concerns, Emily takes a whole bottle of cough medicine. Moments later, Ben receives a call from Kelly, and he tells her everything that happened to him and the kids. He informs her that he's heading to the driving center because Anthony needs to take a test for his license. So she tells him she'll meet him there. As they all arrive, Alexander realizes that everything is happening due to his wish. So he asks his brother not to take the test today. Anthony, on the other hand, ignores him and gets in his father's van for his test. After this, a woman who will evaluate him rides with him. Moments later, Anthony nervously starts driving, but he does well. However, suddenly he gets a phone call from Celia. He does not answer, but his evaluator urges him to do so. But as soon as he picks up the phone, she informs him that he has failed his test. Panicked, Anthony loses control of the vehicle and drives off the road. He knocks over various objects on the sidewalk until he crashes with a point. Following this, the van's door falls off and the vehicle is utterly wrecked. After this, the family argues and blames each other for this horrible day. However, Alexander explains that this is happening due to his birthday wish. He was so envious of their perfect lives that he wished them terrible luck. Feeling guilty, he suggests canceling his birthday party to avoid more disasters. However, Ben reassures him that the day isn't ruined just yet, and the family pledges to be as optimistic as possible. In the next scene, the family stops at a tuxedo shop for Anthony, but the tuxedo he ordered was mistakenly given to someone else. So he receives a blue tuxedo and takes it. After that, they go to school for Emily's performance. Emily changes her clothes fast and prepares for the show. However, she soon becomes high due to the excess cough syrup. When her turn comes, she goes onto the stage and begins acting erratically. She laughs and ends up destroying all of the decorations. Due to this, the director is now compelled to cancel the whole show. Later, Emily sits in the dressing room frustrated, and Ben comes in to console her. However, she ends up vomiting in his clothes and rushes to the bathroom. Just then, Ben receives a call from the video game company inviting him for a meal at a Japanese restaurant. So he quickly changes into a pirate shirt and heads there with his family. On the way, Anthony stops to pick up Celia for prom and tells her that he failed his driving test. Therefore, he and Celia have to go in the wrecked van, which angers her. Soon after, they arrive at the Japanese restaurant where Anthony and Celia sit away from everyone. She then gets angry with him for bringing her to such a cheap place and insults his family. Meanwhile, Ben finds out that he's been given the job and is overjoyed. He starts dancing in excitement and accidentally sets his shirt on fire at the grill. Embarrassed, he apologizes and departs with his family. Outside, he gets very upset and starts kicking garbage cans. So Alexander reminds him that despite his best efforts, everyone will have terrible days so that they can appreciate the good ones. Just then, Celia's friends arrive in a limo, and she suggests to Anthony that they should go with her friends to the prom. However, Anthony refuses her since he is tired of her obnoxious behavior. She then starts to insult him, so he ends their relationship and returns home with his family. When the family returns home, they discover an alligator in their home and freak out. But this turns out to be part of an Australian petting zoo that Alexander's parents planned for his birthday. Soon after, all of his friends, including Becky, arrive to celebrate his birthday. Meanwhile, Ben gets hired for the game design job, and Kelly learns that the reading went viral, creating publicity for her book. As the movie concludes, Alexander narrates that despite having a horrible day, this one turned out to be the best day ever.